lot of models, so it's pretty short amount of time. They have gone out and spoken. They'll tell you the hard work is industrious engineers. There's a 2018, $25,000 driving weapon, right? 71 next year, $1.5 billion for 2020. Oh, what happened in 2020? Oh, that's right. They decided to put us for illegal aliens. This one organization, by the way, guys. This one organization, this is Don Walker. Don Walker. Nation Legal Alliance. Money for your taxpayer money. And it's with George Soros. So they went from 2018 to $25,000 to 2022, $4.1 million. $4 million. That's to flood Springfield, Ohio, New York. It's all about this point being flooded with Venezuela, but it's still this flooded with all of these people, and they go, oh, look, they're taking over the sports. They tell you, like Prince Jean-Luc Pontier, John Legend just came out, on Sundays, they go, hey, man, what's the big deal? These are net benefits to our economy. There's just so many jobs that they just do for these people. These people cost $1 billion. There is no way that you're going to convince me in a legitimate fashion that these migrants over here are somehow not costing more than they're generating. Here is Springfield residents from after Ohio Council's famous son urges them to embrace the 20,000, by the way, 20,000 project. Well, man, they just want a better life. I don't, listen. I don't want you to want a better life. But not at the cost of my fortune. Yeah, I'm something. I don't keep on concept of those jobs. I'm real happy. I'm saying stuff. Now, you can have a better life. I want you to have a better life. I want you to get that better life. But these doctors aren't interested in giving you a better life. They're interested in breaking and killing taxpayers behind their shield of patients. Meanwhile, everywhere in Springfield, Ohio, is going to pay price points. The grocery symbol is offsetting all of this stuff that you should expect to. How do you know that it's not on the party? It's not fun. It's not fun. He wants to come and see it like the last one. It's some shit up there. Don't be the bucks. What about it? That's this everything. This everyone has this position to come on. So, we don't fix enough patients of these working so zero working so everything is good. I love job so much for it. Our economy is working just but why do they need staff? Why do we get refugees? Refugee capture. What is this fund right here? How much of all of mine has been dumped into refugee capture systems? $20 slush fund. Guys, you're just as stupid about it. Yeah, they ain't got money for that. We got homeless vets, man. We've got homeless vets that were destroyed by these local warmongers. To the left down last night, right? Which is madness. And we ain't got any money for that. No money for that. And they don't want to build any apartment complexes or events. They don't want to better the VA. They got a fuck ton of money for Ukraine and refugee cash assistance. And you got a bunch of people in these Democrat politicians who've been used to getting the government jet up. Democrat plantation, and they're used to give me that. Give me that. I want my give me that. Well, now let's give me that. Or me, not that. So they can give that. Right here, but anything wrong is anything like America. Yes. White Americans, black Americans, place Americans with this, but it's not that I think you can see them. It's written all out, smell it, boys. Put it right on your Haitian banknotes in the book. And you don't talk about anything like the bill. I ended up with Trump. Hillary Clinton, Bill went off the middle of Haiti on the government of the Haitians deal with. Check your state Medicaid. It's a blue state that gives seniors on the side. Yeah. Our seniors, our veterans, Haitians get 8 months of free health insurance. You get health insurance free. Despite Obamacare making my health insurance as cheap as I'm old enough to remember that. I'm old enough to remember that. If you like your doctor, your doctor, work with the sure that affordable health care support everybody in place. Even the whites out there, or whites out, free health care. Fuck you. I look at both as way expensive. Fuck you. Asshole. Refugees get 5 years of support from our laws, which includes daycare. Do you get free daycare? Your fucking tax plan? The audience getting raped by the IRS's asshole? Going to work every day? Overtime on Saturday? Struggling to get ends meet? Struggling to feed your kids? Paying $1,000 a month for daycare? You get free daycare? What shit? No, fuck you. Said Obama. Through Joe Biden. Soon to they're still in election. They'll say, call it out. Free driver's licenses. People in Ohio say, oh, they're getting free driver's licenses. They can't read. They can't read. They're just driving into trees, smashing into pet stores, people. So yeah, John, they just, look at this, they're a benefit to the society. Oh, look at this, the taxpayers. The taxpayers are tax leeches. Look at how much money they're getting. They're getting hundreds of thousands of dollars over here.
Minfilia, am I right?
None other. I bid you welcome to Revenant's Toll, and thank you for traveling so far on such short notice.
As if I could ever say no to Urianger.
Moonbreeder is an accomplished Sharlayan scholar and an authority on aetherite technologies. She has played an invaluable role in our search for a means to capture Ascian souls.
Charmed, I'm sure.
I do love some black coffee. Love my coffee. Black boys, blackoutcoffee.com. Thank you for sponsoring the second hour of this ridiculous show. Crazy stuff that I say. Get some yourself some of this coffee over here, boys. Okay. Sponsor you. June Farming 20. You've got a great smell. Hey, coffee. It's time to get back to that one. That's a blackout coffee. ASMR. Blackout Coffee is active in support of hardworking Americans who see their work as a duty and honor to take care of customers working on coming out of black companies. Premium coffee, premium great companies. Most people don't even know what coffee tastes like because of motivated corporations. It's good.
Moon! Gods, it's been ages!
It's staying with her.
Oh, longer, sister.
It's insanely good, but I would space it out a little bit.
A joyous reunion indeed.
Well, of course it is. Moon and I are like twin sisters.
It's delicious.
Save in appearance and aptitude.
Super latte is insanely delicious. There's a lot of sugar, so drink one, but then take the stairs at one. Run to the bottom.
Everyone, if I could have your attention. We have with us an esteemed guest who has come from Sharlayan to assist us. I bid Moonbreeder join us here that she might share with us her extensive knowledge of aetherites. Also, as many of you are already aware, she has been overseeing our research into white auracite, a sample of which she has been good enough to bring with her.
Well, I had to come, didn't I? You'd have to be bloody daft to turn your nose up at a chance like this. Where better to conduct my final tests than a land so steeped in ether you can taste it?
'Tis plain the passage of the years hath done little to dampen thy youthful spirits, and nothing at all to reform thy youthful manner.
I don't know if you guys are drinking radioactive water. I don't know what's going on. Get good with God.
Urianger, where in the hells have you been hiding?
Out of this mess. If you've got warlords,
Unhand me.
you need to get smart, get organized, and get fucking medieval. Stop being parents.
I come all this way, and that's what you have to say to me. I much preferred when you were pleading with me to drop everything and hurry to your side. What was it you said? None save thee can satisfy this need.
Go on.
People who are coming to help you are pretending to help you, and they don't fucking rob you.
Thine artless attempts to misrepresent mine all too innocent motives do thee little credit. Mine intent, as well thou knowest, was but to impress upon thee the gravity of the circumstance. Lest thou doubt, a deiform entity shall shortly be summoned, save if thou and no other grantest my compeers thine aid.
You still haven't found it, then? Your missing aetherite.
That's the point.
We have not. No. We know that Iceheart teleported to an aetherite not far from the first. Yet even after careful analysis, we could not locate the second beacon. We now suspect that the heretics destroyed the second aetherite to impede our pursuit. Our allies continue to scour Snowcloak for Iceheart's sanctuary, but we have no guarantee that they will find it. Yet it must be found, for even now Iceheart prepares to call upon Saint Shiva.
I'm sorry, but if the aetherite's been destroyed, then that's that. Although, you're absolutely sure she used the first aetherite, are you? She didn't just use teleportation magics?
One of our own bore witness to her escape. I can say with absolute certainty that Iceheart used the aetherite.
The cat situation is a perfect conversation.
In that case, there might be a way, so long as the ethereal current is still flowing.
Truly? How?
We use the current to recreate the beacon. As you know, aetherites are a bit like lighthouses. We use them to reconstitute our physical forms when crossing the ethereal sea. Without them, we'd lose all sense of direction and our essence would dissipate. However, we don't rely solely on these beacons. There are currents of ether which flow between them, currents which help guide us to our destination. Now, these currents will gradually dwindle away to nothing if an aetherite is destroyed. But if even a sluggish flow remains, we could theoretically use it to direct a surge of concentrated ether towards the void left by the beacon, and thereby fill it up again.
Like opening the floodgates to fill a dry riverbed. Though, correct me if I'm wrong, but would we not need a veritable reservoir of ether?
guys are in a lot of trouble on this side.
In concert, we might manage to channel a sufficient volume, yet that is not my chief concern. To direct the flow of so great a volume of ether with the requisite precision would be a nigh impossible task in itself.
I barely succeeded in facilitating travel to an unattuned beacon. That which you describe sounds considerably more difficult.
You're all welcome here. As long as you understand what's going on, you're all welcome.
And dangerous. Every person who has attempted to teleport in this fashion has died in the process. They, however, did not have wide aura sight at their disposal. I can use it to channel all the ether you can give me into the aetheryte. However, wide aura sight cannot retain ether for an extended period of time, so we would need to infuse it immediately beforehand. Just so you know, I'd confidently give this plan better than even odds of success. And if the worst comes to worst, your people won't suffer.
Though it risked the lives of our best and brightest, we have not the time to seek other options.
We get all the hotties, boys. Keep them. We hold it the hotties, boys. We're taking that. That's all.
If the ethereal current still flows, we shall carry out Moonbreeder's plan.
That's the spirit. Let's roll the dice.
Make us stabilize. Those are doing all the station stuff in the MSQ cycle to try and keep the groups that have the massive foundation. Yeah, I don't think this goes that far. Since they're trying, here's what they're trying to do with the Haitian cat thing. Then we got one of solution about the Haitian cat. That's going on. People are talking about it. People who don't care about politics. People who want to watch sports and chicks who want to go to Taylor Swift concert. People who don't know who the president is. There's a whole bunch of just sleeping fucking moments out there. They hate politics. The world's crazy right now. You can be blunt. Somebody who doesn't want to get involved in politics right now. There's a lot of people that they just want to eat sugar and sell the fuck out. They don't want to get involved in politics. Those people right now are talking about these cats. So, the left-hand side has to straight. Oh my god, that's stupid. Oh, I can't believe it's so stupid. It's right. It's stupid. Why? Because then you go, is there a town force? Why are there 20,000 population town? There's a big old about it. If they ask that question, like that one song, the reason for the whole thing is one kind of case. It's Simone, it's Minnesota, back there. They go, hold on, right? Hold on, right? What's going on? The phone is out of there. So, right now, it's all hands on deck. Race them. Oh my god, dignified people. That's what's going on. Normies are so far away from understanding what's going on with kids. We'll get to them. Listen, we gotta save this place. We have death on 100. We gotta save this place, and then we can expose them. Push these dumb fucking normies over there. They didn't have to kill themselves still. So, we got a lot of work to do, Sleeping Giant. They'll look at what? They don't take anyone, they took us. We're getting one of the exclusive right now. We're on the YouTube drop with the other one. That one is a bit of one. That one's really good. as well as platform jump on the list, heading to Rumble. This one come up by Rihanna Carter. Oh, sweet Mary, thank you so much. You understand myself? That's great. Thank you so much. She got let's work that Cook City Mag, boys. Did it happen? Cook City Mag got home. That's the good day. So, my name is Lionel River Rumble, exclusive right now, and more. We got some so Kamala Harris has finally given another day. I guess it's something needs to be given again. And I can tell you why they're on that radio last week by showing you clips of today's interview. This chick is in trouble. Not only is she in trouble politically, but it's vocabulary. She's in trouble in a lot of different ways, by the way. That's some delicious exposure to on the other side. So, what I think guys is going to be a problem looking out there here. Hey.
With Freestyle Libre 2, get real-time glucose readings right to your smartphone.
In the early 1960s, many Americans feared that the Soviet Union was planning a surprise nuclear attack on the United States. What they didn't know was that their own government was considering launching nuclear weapons against the Soviet Union first. On July 20th, 1961, high-ranking officials, including the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, presented a plan for a nuclear first strike to President John F. Kennedy. The meeting was top secret. No official record of its content was found until 1993.
This was a meeting was formed at a time when Kennedy was very big A memorandum was prepared for Vice President Johnson, summarizing the sequence of discussion after the meeting, and that memorandum was until we had the burst of President Kennedy presented with a scenario for Iraq. Big surprise attack by the United States.
The Soviets were lagging behind in the nuclear industry, and popular military officials suggested a nuclear first strike.
The United States took certainly And so that has resulted in some pretty bizarre social media posts, and Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the federal conservatives, just gets to sit back, eat his popcorn, and make fun of both of them, because both of them are in a slap fight over pretty much nothing. Before I get into it, though, I just want to highlight how sloppy Jagmeet Singh has been of breaking up Justice Trudeau, and then saying that he is no longer in favor of the carbon tax. It's all been so haphazard and made himself look so unprofessional that his approval ratings have actually slipped farther in the aftermath of it. In the long run, I actually frankly think that Jagmeet Singh is going to improve in his popularity, because by being oppositional to Trudeau, he can really separate himself from Trudeau, because that was the reason before why Jagmeet Singh's approval ratings have fallen so far down. He could be very high up in the positive ratings, because people saw him as offensive and unthreatening, because he was never going to become prime minister. When he partnered up with Trudeau, a bunch of people started really paying attention to what Jagmeet Singh says and does, and they didn't really like it. But now, you would assume that he would get more popular once he finally couples himself with Trudeau, but again, he did it in such a bad way that now he only has a approval rating of 29% and a disapproval rating of 38%. 89% net negative approval rating. Absolutely bizarre, but I assume in time it will recover. But here all of it, let's start off with him when he talks about the specific issues going on here. He's going to Jagmeet Singh, because obviously a lot of what Jagmeet Singh is saying on the carbon tax is purely artificial. Supposedly Jagmeet Singh fell against it when he started working with people, but that's mostly true about the carbon tax ever since it was passed back in 2019. And Pierre Poilievre shares this article with this quote: Jagmeet Singh targeted the carbon tax in a flaccid attempt to imitate the air. and that's absolutely true. Jason Singh not only separates himself from Justin Trudeau to make him evil and unpopular, but he also wants to sort of capture that popular energy that Peter Poilievre and people like Joaquin have. The problem is that Jason Singh has been around since 2018 as a leader. So nobody actually trusts that he somehow changed. He's simply saying enough to try and gain a little bit of hold. But, that's not really a big, most people who pay attention are going to know that Jason Singh is still the role social. But now, let's jump over to the Liberals, because the Liberals are doing this in response to what the NDP are doing. They posted this meme with the headline "LOL," and it says, "Here Poilievre's climate denial," the woman in the foreground, and then it shows Jason Singh and Canadians who care about fighting climate change. Oh my goodness. Who are the consultants advising Justin Trudeau? This just makes them look like college progressives. And I guess that's maybe because Jason Singh is saying he doesn't want trying to vote to get rid of the carbon tax. The Liberals think that college-age progressives are up to grabs, but they're assuming that college-age progressives are 50 people and are going to somehow abandon Jason Singh and the NDP over. They're not, because they don't pay attention to politics very much. They just vote for NDP because it is perceived as the most left-wing mainstream party outside of the Greens, but the Greens is completely irrelevant. So, if anything, Justin Trudeau tells you that hamper more middle-class voters. Jason Singh is going to mostly just hold on to the same progressive voters he already had, and union voters and working-class people are going to vote for conservatives who essentially respect them. It doesn't matter what Jason Singh says to pretend that he cares about working-class people these days. He just so obviously is a white-collar elitist that no one who works in sort of tough, unionized labor are going to care that he's super pro-union. They'd rather vote for conservatives who actually tend to propose much to the empowering industry because it can't be acceptable to people. And from my perspective, that's a good thing. If anything, it's get a massive drag on the economy. It's great that you get workers more benefits, but what they actually end up doing are getting more workers entering the workforce. And the thing is that these unions, because they're taken over by progressive activists...
You should never have come here, warrior of light. I labor only to forge a lasting peace. A peace you would deny us out of ignorance and blind faith. No matter. If it is our fate to be at odds, then it is mine to strike you down. We whom gods and men have forsaken shall be the instruments of our own deliverance. Partake of my flesh. Fill this vessel with your light. Walk amongst your brothers and sisters once more. Oh, Saint Shiva, still the hatred within our hearts and bless us with eternal grace.
because that's them taking away an affordable house from other people. There are people already pointing out how ridiculous this is. That there is knock down and build a house that can fit more people on it, or build two houses and split the lot because it was made back in the 80s and has way too much room around it compared to how houses are built today. And that, like, JBC's plan would actually make it so that there's less housing available. The solution to most problems is expand supply. Don't just try and meet, like, just try and meet the problem from the demand side. You have to meet it from the supply side. Because you can't make demand work with small supply. You can only make the demand work with a rising supply.
You, of all people, should understand the suffering war begets. That no sacrifice is too great if it brings an end to the violence.
I hate demand-side economics. Supply-side economics are where it's at.
Mine is the righteous cause.
I encourage you to like the video, subscribe to the channel, do all those things, and donate to...
You fight in a war you do not understand. A pawn of liars and schemers. And they are no less ignorant than you, following the creed of their fathers without question, never thinking to ask why. Trapped in a delusion of their own creation, and blind to the truth.
Really helps us out, keeps us going, and allows us to actually upgrade our equipment. And doing all this on a laptop camera, and it'd be great to do something.
Warrior of light, redemption is not beyond us.
But that's another topic for another day.
We who walk before may lead those who walk after. Seek the keeper of the lake. See with eyes unclouded. Do not squander a mother's gift. Hear, feel, think.
And so the vessel withdraws, a predictable outcome. Nevertheless, La Habrea will be pleased. How unfortunate.
On behalf of the Holy See of Ishgard, allow me to express my deepest thanks. Never before have we been required to contend with a primal. Indeed, there were fears in some quarters that our knights might not be equal to the task. From what we have now learned of these beings, I can say with certainty that we would have lost a great many men had the Scions not intervened.
Then the argument for preemptive action should be self-evident. Perchance now you will reconsider my proposal that Ishgard move against Nautalon.
Ere we first met, a similar proposal was tabled, but the Holy See decreed that we were to observe, and that military action should be taken only in self-defense. All things considered, it was not an unreasonable decision. Since the calamity, 2 vigils have fallen to the Horde, while Garuda has never shown any inclination to storm the gates of judgment. Which is why this unprecedented crisis and its resolution may prompt a change in policy. You who have faced these primals know well the threat they pose. Ishgard did not. Not until now. And there is naught like a brush with death to change a man's outlook.
At the very least, this should silence any lingering objections to our arrangement with Revenant's Toll. The Holy See may even feel moved to grant us its formal endorsement.
So far as it is possible, the Scions shall be compensated for their service.
We should be grateful for any aid you can provide.
As a gesture of good faith, I shall withdraw my previous request. Your people are doubtless needed elsewhere.
That will not be necessary. We too have a vested interest in watching Dravania's movements.
I see. Once more, I must thank you.
Sir Emmerich, if I may, do you truly believe that Midgardsormr could return?
The heavens are a window unto truth, but those who interpret their movements are not infallible. I requested your involvement as a precautionary measure.
But of course, you sought an excuse to compensate us from the first, mindful of what would happen if Revenant's Toll were taken by your enemies. Ishgard is not wont to aid its neighbors, but that does not preclude it from manipulating them to serve its own interests.
Choose your next words carefully.
Do you know what sort of man becomes Lord Commander of the Temple Knights? One who comes from good stock. I did not. Yet here I am now. Why do you suppose that is? Because I swiftly learned to tell the difference between words, deeds, and beliefs. You are correct, Master Leveilleur. Ishgard desires to see Revenant's Toll flourish, as it would present a troublesome obstacle to our enemies from the south.
We are so glad to be of use to you.
As we are to you. Ours is a mutually beneficial arrangement, lest we forget, one born of necessity. The dragons grow more restless by the day, and the heretics harry us nigh without cease. We have contended with such troubles for centuries, but there are limits to even our endurance. Yet as a pauper is loath to part with his meager possessions, the leaders of Ishgard are not wont to render up their trust to outsiders. But with perseverance on our part, they may yet be made to see the light. Nevertheless, one must take care when walking the road less traveled.
Wise words, Sir Emmerich. I shall make a point to remember them. I must apologize for my earlier outburst. I hope it will not sour our good relations.
Not at all. You but spoke from the heart. I trust you understand that at times my duties may prevent me from meeting with you. On such occasions, my second-in-command will speak for me.
Lucia, at your service. Pray excuse our reticence. We are but wary of speaking too freely, lest our sentiments be made known to our enemies. Know that the Lord Commander and I are of one mind. For the sake of Ishgard, and of Eorzea at large, I pray our peoples can put aside their differences. Those who dwell in the past risk losing sight of their future.
Should aught befall one of our shipments, pray inform Lucia immediately. You may also relay to her any words you might have for me alone. Not being of Ishgardian birth, she owes no allegiance to any noble house, making her as near to incorruptible as one can find in my homeland. Suffice it to say, I trust her completely, and so may you. Which reminds me, Lord Orshafor, if you would be so kind.
Certainly.
In times such as these, trust is ever in short supply. Mayhap this will go some way to rectify the problem. The results of our investigation into the heretics' recent attacks, as well as our interrogation of the merchant you detained.
Sir Emmerich, I cannot thank you enough.
Think nothing of it. Ishgard may be many things, but it is no friend to Garlemald.
Did I not tell you to have faith, my friend?
Words cannot well express how glad I am to see you return to us hale and whole. Needless to say, I am most eager to hear your account of that which occurred in Kurthis, assuming you're ready to speak of it. Excellent. I shall summon the others at once. Iceheart used her own body as a vessel for a primal soul?
Master Louisoix's writings make no mention of such a possibility. Can we be certain this entity was a primal?
Better as certain as we can be that good King Mogulmog XII was a primal, I should think. Both were ostensibly summoned.
Let's not quibble over definitions. Of more concern is the implication that Iceheart retained her will, even after she was possessed. We are talking about a mortal, wielding the power of a primal.
It can't possibly be that easy, can it? There must be some sort of sacrifice required. Or maybe she's just special?
What qualities this woman possesseth, I know not. But full sure am I that she was groomed for this role. Few are privy to the secrets of summoning, and but a single party standeth to profit from their dissemination.
Well, I wouldn't presume to comment on how the lass came to know about summoning, but I will say that what she summoned was a primal. The readings were the same, or near as damn it. Strange as it all sounds, it's really no different from what you've faced before.
Then mayhap it is time that we re-examined our previous encounters.
Oh, pack your things, Ida. We're going back to Gridania.
Yes, sir.
About Iceheart's final words to you. Hear, feel, think. Hydaelyn speaks to her as well. If Iceheart is blessed with the power of the Echo, she will doubtless have used it to further her goals. Or could it be that it was a revelation granted her by the Echo which first set her on this path? She did say that the Ishgardians were blind to the truth. Do you think she has knowledge of the origins of the Ishgardian-Dravanian War? It would do much to explain her unwavering conviction.
Did not the Lady Iceheart implore thee to seek the Keeper of the Lake? And did she not imply that in so doing thou wouldst come to see with eyes unclouded?
Midgard-Zoma was a king amongst kings who reigned for centuries on end. But he is dead and his wisdom lost to the ages. Unless the Ishgardians' fears are well-founded. It would seem we have yet another reason to stand watch over the Keeper of the Lake. For a mercy, we are well positioned to do so. Iceheart, Shiva, Ascians, and Midgard-Zoma. I shudder to think how they're all connected.
I have heard. Truly bothersome business. No, I do not foresee a problem on that front. The main concern is Roban. There is no telling what the brute might do. Have the Blades watch him in the flames day and night. You may leave the Sultana to me. I shall personally attend her grace. Sever one of the East Aldenard trade routes. That ought to keep Lolorito occupied for a while. Nanamo Ulnamo. For my sake, pray be a good little Sultana to the last.
Welcome back, my friend. I have already received word from Alfina. To think that Flame Marshal Huayu was the Garlean agent. I know not what to say. Together with Robon, Eline lent us much-needed aid at the time of our Order's founding. She was particularly passionate about the need to tackle the primal threat. When we discussed the subject, her eyes fairly shone with determination. Whatever else she may have been, I choose to believe that it was her true self with whom I spoke then. But now is not the time to dwell on such matters. I have an important announcement to make regarding our effort to defeat the Ascians. We shall begin as soon as everyone is assembled. My thanks for coming, friends. Moonbreeder, the floor is yours.
By now, I'm sure you're all familiar with white auracite, the miraculous material that'll allow us to capture Ascian souls. Back at Snowcloak, we verified its ability to absorb vast amounts of ether. Alas, it leaves something to be desired in the area of stability. The stone can only store ether for a short while before expelling its contents.
In addition to auracite's inherent limitations, we must needs be wary of our enemy's strength. Our foe draweth upon an infinite wellspring of power. Even should we succeed in entrapping him, the stone will not long contain his wrath.
Meaning that, if we want to kill the swine, we'll have to be quick about it.
'Tis our belief that an Ascian soul may be permanently undone, if smitten by a sufficiently concentrated burst of pure ether.
The only trouble is, we can't say for sure how concentrated the burst needs to be. Without knowing how much ether an Ascian soul is composed of, we're basically guessing.
Our sole clue lieth in thy struggle with La Habrea.
During that encounter, Hydaelyn bid you forge what she called a Blade of Light, a weapon which took the form of a luminous stream of energy. Based on your description, we believe the blade with which you vanquished your foe was composed of ether. Admittedly, your victory proved ephemeral, as La Habrea was able to use a crystal of darkness to flee into the space that lies between our world and the void. The fact remains, however, that Hydaelyn placed the means to destroy the Ascians in your hands. Be that as it may, it would be unwise to assume that she will do the same when we next encounter such a foe.
Quite so, my lady. We must needs find the means to forge our own blade of ether, one to equal that which Hydaelyn did benevolently bestow upon her champion.
That is all well and good, but it seems to me that producing such a blade will require a prodigious quantity of ether. Whence will it come, pray tell?
What if we had two pieces of white auracite? One to trap the Ascian, and the other to store the ether for the blade.
Oh, nice try. But it's as I said, the stone won't hold ether for any length of time. We'd still need to collect the stuff there and then, sorry to say.
And therein lies the rub. Finding a way to create the blade whenever and wherever we choose.
'Twould seem more research is in order. I'm going to linger a while, perform a few more tests on the auracite. And I could do with some help. Urianger, why don't you lend me a hand?
Mine apologies, but I am required at the Waking Sands. Lady Minfilia hath given me sole charge of the premises. 'Twould be unseemly to leave them unattended.
Sole charge, you say? So you're basically alone there, then? Well, that settles it. I'll just have to come to you.
While you were afield, word arrived from the Sharlayan motherland. You will recall that a survey party was dispatched to investigate the incident at the Isle of Vow. What they discovered was troubling, to say the least. According to the report, the isle has been erased from existence. 'Twas as if a hole had been torn in the very fabric of reality.
Aye, yet the mystery endeth not with the isle's disappearance. It hath come to light that a number of scholars in various other locales were reported missing at a similar juncture.
What's more, they all had something in common with the head of the students of Baldesion. Every last one of them was researching a phenomenon called dimensional compression, or the rejoining as the ancient texts call it. I'll be damned if that's a coincidence.
All indications suggest Ascian involvement, but I sense that a force greater still is at work. The entity the Dark Beings call the One True God. We must pray that my dear friend Krile regains consciousness soon. If she bore witness to the Isle of Vow's final moments, she may be able to shed some light on this mystery.
Following the calamity, the forces of the 14th Imperial Legion entrenched themselves in strategic locations across Eorzea. So swiftly did they accomplish this, it was suspected that they had received help. To think that it came from Huayu, my right hand.
There is more. We have reason to believe that Huayu didn't deal exclusively with the 14th. She also answered to a higher authority in Garlemald. But this higher authority could not have been the Emperor. By consenting to the Meteor Project, Solus Zos Galvus showed himself to be more concerned about preventing the spread of primal influence than claiming Eorzea for the Empire. He would happily have seen the lot reduced to ash. We believe a number of high-ranking figures within the royal household were against the decision, but that they knew better than to oppose the Emperor openly. Of course, this didn't prevent them from making clandestine provisions, in which Huayu played a part.
Alas, these provisions did not prevent Dalamud from falling, and the ensuing chaos changed the face of the realm forever. Yet Eorzea survived. To all intents and purposes, the Meteor Project had failed, and the Empire was left to rue its lack of a decisive means to eliminate the Primals. Until, that is, it stumbled upon the Ultima weapon.
Even before the accursed thing was dug up, it seemed to me the 14th had the might to overwhelm our weakened armies. Yet they chose to hide behind their walls. Why?
The Black Wolf was wary of making the denizens of Eorzea desperate, lest more primals emerge to bleed the land. The discovery of the Ultima weapon, however, emboldened him to resume his war of conquest in earnest.
But there was one in Garlemald who believed that Van Belsar's actions were premature. One who stood higher in the Imperial Army's chain of command. He ordered the Legatus to halt his advance, only to find that the Black Wolf had slipped its leash, and that the 14th now acted alone. In a bid to bring Van Belsar to heel, he used the agent he had planted in Ul'dah prior to the calamity to undermine the Legion's efforts.
A man who outranks Van Belsar, yet opposed the late Emperor's decision to annihilate Eorzea. This could only be the former High Legatus of the Garlean army, now known as Emperor Voris Zos Galvus. So he was Huayu's true master.
But one of several in actual fact. We've learned that even as Huayu served the Empire's interests, she sold Imperial secrets to a certain faction in Eorzea. In so doing, she helped to maintain the status quo, thus prolonging the conflict. Considering who stands to profit from war, it isn't hard to imagine who her other masters were.
Seven hells! You mean to say that she was a double agent?
Triple, if you consider her services to Van Belsar and the new Emperor as separate.
As neatly as these pieces seem to fit, one aspect of the puzzle remains unclear to me. By whose will was the Marshal feeding intelligence to the heretics? And try as I might, I fail to see how aiding their cause would profit either her Imperial or monetarist masters. Could it be that another hand is at work here? If so, Huayu must be made to reveal whose it is.
Not only have I lost a trusted friend, now I must interrogate her as a stranger.
Not a pleasant task, I grant you, but a necessary one. Unless we weed out the ivy, root, stalk, and stem, it will simply grow back.
I know that full well. Those closest to Huayu have already been detained, and I will question them alongside her.
General, pray keep in mind that there may be unwitting abettors among them.
All will be treated fairly. On that you have my word. Those who are innocent have no cause to fear.
You have ever been a friend of truth, General. I hope the unpleasant task of weeding out falsehood will not detain you too long. Though it be for the sake of Eorzea, doubting one's comrades is poison to the soul. And with that, I take my leave.
All these years, I've been made to dance to their tune. How could you, Huayu? How could you side with them? Those cankers who take from this land and give naught in return, who use their power to disempower and grow fat while the people starve. I know you can hear me, monitorous scum! Your crimes will not go unpunished! Tayum, purge this land of your sickness before the eyes of the 12! I swear it!
I shall have no further need of you this day. Your Grace. I fear that not even mine own chamber shall remain private for long.
Has the situation grown so grim?
Ever since he proposed the Cartiner Reclamation Bill, Teleji Adeleji has risen to greater prominence upon the backs of impoverished refugees. The monetarists were ever united in their pursuit of profit, but the man's actions have torn a rift in their ranks. They snap at each other as rabid dogs. Yet now is not the time to be bickering among ourselves.
If this bickering is a threat to law and order, might you not have grounds to dissolve the Syndicate?
Would that the solution were so simple, Admiral. Alas, my moving to dissolve the Syndicate is certain to spark outrage among the influential merchant class, whom the Cabal represents. This would serve to exacerbate the current unrest, and peace would slip still further away. Be they rich or poor, natives or refugees, all who reside in Ul'dah have a right to pursue happiness. It is the duty of a ruler to protect this right. If I am to perform my duty, I must needs tread warily. It would not do to make enemies heedlessly. Were Lord Lolorito here, he would doubtless say that I have my head in the clouds.
A ruler is required to take a wide view. Try as we might to cater to all needs, some will inevitably be overlooked. As such, there shall ever be citizens who feel aggrieved. It cannot be helped, but as you have informed us, the monetarists take no view but their own. They hunger for power while the masses starve. In the absence of a common cause, it seems beyond any one individual to make Ul'dah whole.
And the presence of a Garlean agent within the Immortal Flames only makes matters worse. Even accounting for Ul'dah's historic reliance upon mercenaries, such a grievous breach of security is unprecedented. I fear this business will provide the monetarists with a rod to beat Rauban.
Eorzea can ill afford for the Immortal Flames to be dampened now. Ere long, the Garleans will turn their ravenous gaze toward our lands once more. If we are to resist their might, our nations must stand together. Yet for this to happen, our nations must be whole. Cannot be done to improve the situation in Ul'dah.
The true wealth of Ul'dah lies in the health, happiness, and hopes of her citizens. Alas, the citizens shall never know these things, so long as their lives are ruled by the ambitions of the few. The monetarists claim to represent the best interests of the people, but in sooth they desire only to manipulate them for their own selfish ends. For the government to serve the people, it must be formed of the people. For Ul'dah to move forward, it is not only the Syndicate that must be dissolved.
Nay, you jest.
My friends, it was for no other reason than to make known to you mine intent that I requested your presence here. When I make my declaration to the people, chaos shall inevitably ensue. As the last monarch in the line of Ul, I make unto you this request. Help Roban to preserve order and protect the people. Forsake them, and you forsake yourselves. For a strong Eorzea will ever have need of a strong Ul'dah.
Your Grace, are you certain of this?
There is no other way. When the time is ripe, the nation shall become a true republic. Both royalists and monetarists shall cease to be. Ul'dah will no longer belong to kings or queens or merchant princes, but to her people. Roban, forgive me for casting aside all that you have toiled for in my name. Beyond this gesture, I am powerless to help my subjects.
Before we see that, we have Enforcer Matt. Ian being controls is Enforcer Matt, and welcome back today, 9:33 the news. And it's good to see you all once again. And we're seeing today that Ukraine's opened a brand new invasion of first Russia, and the Russians are panicking. It's good to see you all once again. And of course, we're going to be covering the past 24 hours of the news of the war in Ukraine as we have got major news that not only was yesterday's border breach a somewhat larger one, which we're going to document on this channel, because it happened literally 5 minutes before the stream went live, we have now been able to hear the Ukrainian forces have been rapidly advancing towards the town of Vezlo, and it appears that the Russians are facing a serious defeat in their rear flank near the area of Komarovka, as the Ukrainians are now advancing towards those coasts on a new offensive axis that was completely unpredicted by the Russians up until this point. A major development in the first battle so far, and we've also been able to get larger news of Ukrainian activities happening around the entirety of the Kursk Oblast, as this appears to be once again a reinvigorated offensive effort by the Ukrainian forces in most directions near the area of the Reka Sen. The Ukrainians are now breaking out and reaching forwards, trying to take more ground from the Russian Federation here over just the past few hours. Not only that, we were also able to get some additional news outside of the area of Pokrovsk, where we were able to hear that Russian forces are still taking incredibly high losses at the hands of the Ukrainian defense forces, and the Russians appear to have not made any offensive gains over the past 24 hours, and instead have just taken incredibly high losses with absolutely no gains whatsoever. At the exact same time, there's been a lot of Ukrainian combat news going on in the area of Bakhmut, the Severonsky Forest, and also near to the area of Kupiansk. And we've also gotten some intermittent news out of the area of Kinburn Spit, as the Ukrainians are continuing to conduct an artillery barrage on this area on the Russian forces that are trying to hold down this vital entryway into the Dniprovsk Gold. We've also been able to hear of the Ukrainian deep strike near to the area of Melitopol, which ended up hitting some sort of a Russian supply cache and causing a very significant fire just a few hours ago. And we also have loads of news in multiple different directions tonight, an absolute lot of it, because not only do we have news from Ukraine tonight, we have now gotten an official confirmation that the State of Israel is planning and has officially announced that they will most likely be going into a full-out war with Hezbollah within southern Lebanon here within the very near future. And not only that, inside the United States of America, we have now started to hear a statement clarifying the odd statements made yesterday, saying that America may give the Ukrainians the permission to use American weapons in deep strikes against the Russian Federation. Those statements making a lot more sense than the statements we heard before. But most importantly tonight, probably the most important for everyone that's here, this is actually our final stream before we log off from the September 14th to 18th time window that we've been talking about for weeks at this point. It is that night. I guess you could say this stream is one for the road, I guess you could say. Man, it really is one for the road, I suppose. And that's what we're going to be calling tonight's stream. Stream for the road, because this will be our last live stream right now until the 19th of September or the 20th of September. We're not really sure which day we will be able to return on. It most likely will be the 19th, but if not, expect the 20th. But this is the final stream for this night. So make sure to lock, stock, and load, because this will be the last Enforcer stream many people have for about the next 5 days or so. So just want to make sure to put that out there and let everyone know that, just in case you've not heard that up until this point. But we have an insanely high amount of news to work off of here in our final hours before we start going on our own vacation and our own little trip out there into the world, the first one that we've ever had in about 4 years. But moving on from that and on into the major news that we were able to get out of the Kursk Oblast today, we were able to see the Ukrainian forces have started to rapidly advance across the border from the area around Goliput and have advanced up into the area of Olutrova as of today. We were able to get video and picture evidence confirming the Ukrainian forces are rapidly moving in this area, and the video evidence was immediately deleted. So now I have to try and scramble to find this reel really quickly. Usually I would have had a backup on something like this, but I had a feeling that that was not going to be deleted or removed, and then it was deleted and removed. So let me go see if I can quickly find something that will be able to show this off to us. Hopefully Matthew's also in the Desperate Strand as well to be able to try and find this, because there is a decent amount of video and picture evidence. I do. So also, by the way, there's a massive delay on this where I don't know why it's just the usual internet problems at this point, but there is a repost on our Twitter page about 3 or 4 posts down, which does have the evidence of the breach. And here we go. Thank you so much for sharing right here.
out. He doesn't need to be some nice upright music to kick us off, but we can see here the Ukrainians making their way in a larger column towards the town of Veslo. We can see that they're making it through the breach that was made by the engineering vehicles yesterday, which we were able to document on camera about 5 minutes before the stream started. And we can see that the Ukrainians are absolutely barreling forward through the fields, facing no opposition at this point, and quickly making their way towards Veslo. We now see them hitting the tree line over here and now making a left turn to follow the link of the tree line and towards their first village that will be one of their main targets at the moment. We can also see what appears to have been maybe a damaged Ukrainian vehicle on the side of the road, although the footage is pretty dicey kind of in its quality. And we see here the footage is Dodgy Dave. Dodgy Dave! You will refuse that statement. No, I will not. She check him out. But beyond that, we can see them finally making it to a paved road. And making their way on downtown, walking fast. We can see here the Ukrainian column continuing to advance down the road. You can actually see something either fire or take a hit right there. I believe the tank actually fired at something near to the roadway. We see them continuing to rapidly advance onwards down the paved road. Actually, onwards is a bit of an indescript statement. They're actually moving north. And I'll be showing you all where this was in a little bit and giving you all a little bit more of an analysis of details here that we were able to get out of this at the moment. But we can see the Ukrainians now apparently dismounting some troops in that tree line and then moving on further forward. You see, Ukrainian vehicles are literally everywhere, not only on the road, but combing the areas around the road as well, to make sure that there's no possible hidden Russian resistance in the nearby tree lines. We see here the Ukrainian tank leading the way as it continues to move further north. The Ukrainian MRAP has moved up to the tree line here. We can now see that infantry appear to be dismounted as the tank fires and comes to the side. Seems like the corn group is like on all of these videos that are coming out. Seems like they're like the only like the main group out here doing shell striking. It's kind of crazy. Oh, by the way, go ahead. Oh, what's the news? Did it lag or something? Yeah, it lagged. It sounded like you were starting up a whole new sentence. But beyond that, you can think that, but the corn group is just the one running the drones. There are a large amount of brigades that are involved. It's just that the corn group is usually the one operating most of the drones in the areas they're usually filming most of the stuff. But with that, that's actually they're very effective. Like the freaks off the leash at this point. They're very effective. Man, that's hard to watch. They really are effective. But we can see right here them moving up the road further north. We can also see where that was geolocated, which is just a little bit south of the town of Veslo. This is giving us a very interesting kind of a strategy or a tactic that's being employed by the Ukrainians, which is called hitting them from behind. Now, this is a very interesting kind of strategy, because the Ukrainian forces that are built up around the area of Komarovka and down in the area of Snegos are the ones that have primarily been fighting against the Russian brigade that has been captured, well, really not captured, but caught on the southern side of the Reka Steppe for about several weeks at this point. It appears that brigade has been able to put up a serious enough resistance. We're not really sure how well it's been going, but they have been able to hold the Ukrainians at Komarovka and stop them from advancing towards Glishkova, which would largely cut off this Russian brigade from any chance of a retreat back across the river. They truly would be trapped and captured here on the southern side of Reka Steppe eventually. The Ukrainians seem to have understood this and seen that probably this brigade has put a lot of their fighting power into the direction of Komarovka and will warn the Ukrainians into this area and hope that the Ukrainians do not try and conduct an offensive in another direction or simply do not have the combat power of troops to be able to do such a thing. It seems that that gamble did not pay off, as the Ukrainians are now advancing through the area of Veslo unopposed and are now making their way towards Glishkova in an entirely different direction. from where we believe the Ukrainian forces are right now in Koshkovo, it's only a 4-mile distance. And from the area Ukrainians at Komarovka, it's about a 5-mile distance, meaning that they now have Komarovka within their crosshairs in 2 entirely different axes of advance, which is a very big thing for the Ukrainians, because this means that the Russians will probably not be able to focus enough combat power onto either flank, and that means that this defensive effort south of Renison will most likely collapse, with most of the brigade being lost or surrendered to the Ukrainian forces in the future. Maybe some sort of a catalyst that a retreat could be made where some of the combat power of this brigade was preserved, maybe in this battalion form, by another day, but we are highly doubting that at this point. The little bit of Russian resistance that we saw around the area of Veslo actually ended up leading to ET-9EM. Rarely enough, much of the ET-9EMs we would believe on the southern side of Renison already getting hit by 9-bit somewhere in the area and getting completely destroyed when ammo profiles burning to take on up. That thing could be cooking right there. I'm telling you, you don't get to see a lot of tanks cooking like that, but that thing really cooking up like cubes with charcoal briquette. Not the response for that really cook up quite nicely. We also get to see more Russian forces getting hit by the Ukrainian Air Force around the area of Komarovka, just outside of the town and to the west, where the current defensive lines are. This is also giving us a better idea of the Ukrainians were coordinating this defensive effort across the border today at Veslo with the rest of the Ukrainian armed forces in that area, as the Ukrainian Air Force started supporting the main forces in Komarovka with airstrikes to try to soften up the Russian defense position in this area and thoroughly overwhelm the Russian defenses on the southern side of the river. And moving on from that clip, we also got to see that the Ukrainians, although we already documented this on the channel a while ago, from what we understand, the Ukrainians' current front line may even be at Abanasovka, but apparently we did get a video showing that the Ukrainian flag was raised. Well, actually, it says the Russians are raising their flag over Snegossk, but at the moment we understand that the Ukrainians are actually controlling this town instead. So that would be a little bit weird if they're raising the flag, considering that the Ukrainians are all the way at Abanasovka, but we haven't been able to get the viewer picture of this to actually confirm or corroborate that. We also have not been able to see what the Russians conducted a successful counteroffensive in this area, because the Russians began the counteroffensive and failed the counteroffensive within 24 hours, considering that they do not have the supply or logistical ability to be able to support a fighting force on the southern side of the river. So while we do have that video footage, we don't really know if that is Snegossk, and we don't really know what day that is from, because all of the information that we have goes to prove otherwise. The Russians could not be recapturing Snegossk, because the front line, from what we know, is probably at Abanasovka. But moving on from that, and into our next bit of news within Kursk Oblast, we were also able to see that there was some decent amounts of destroyed Ukrainian equipment near to the area of Koronivo. Usually, in most fronts, we do not destroy specifically for reasons. But in the first offensive, we usually do, just so that we can try and account for how well this offensive really is going. A better way to be able to get a good indicator is by publicly showing some possible losses that have been taken in this front. Now we can see right here, a BRDM-2 armored scout car was lost. It appears to have careened off the road and into a puddle. And we were also able to see that the area around it appears to have been hit quite heavily with some other civilian vehicles or military vehicles that were requisitioned from the civilian population being damaged and destroyed in this area. It's not incredibly high loss. BRDM-2s are pretty expendable and very cheap for that matter. Not only that, the crew of the BRDM-2s usually 3 crew members, which includes a commander, a driver, and a gunner. So it's not an incredibly big loss by any stretch of the imagination. One of the more minor losses the Ukrainians could take as the BRDM-2 really was dead the last for their loss in war effort. But moving on from that, on to our next clip, we also did get to see Ukrainian Javelin, a major Russian tank in the area just to the east of Koronivo. And we were able to see that right there. Boom! And the turret went flying. Alabama with those javelins. I love to see it. Man, we're going to see that strong. Man, we love to see it, and I gotta tell you, man, that audio lag is crazy. It sounds like you stop talking, and I sort of know it talking because it's a 15-second delay. And they did great. What now? Let's say in the chat if you like the audio lag. It's absolutely process. But very nice to see that it does have a little bit of he always detonates the ammo critically under the turret, considering that the entire explosive force is directed by the ammo carousel. So it's nice to see it have more power. It's almost come up more like numbers at this point more, and then the Ukrainians facility can absolutely do a incredible job. So moving on into the area, actually, during the fellowship and so that's going. We also got to see the 103rd and 2nd Defense Brigades squads in this copyright use in students, so we're going to have to do that, unfortunately. But we can now see the Ukrainians showing an abandoned BTR-82 with some sort of a electronic warfare system going on top of it that isn't working all that well. We know that it's not working well because the Ukrainian drone is flying around the BTR-82. If it was working, the Ukrainian drone wouldn't be able to fly around the BTR-82 at all. Oh, look at that. Dang, man, that was pretty impressive. And we now see them hitting another Russian BTR. We now see them targeting and trying to destroy a Russian. We see the drone carefully going right to the side of an ERA tile, so that may not have been the best hit that we've ever seen.
We have a guest from Ishgard who wishes to speak with you. I believe the two of you have met.
I had hoped to speak with Commander Leveilleur as well, but I cannot afford to wait any longer. The Lord Commander sent me hither to request your aid in a matter of grave import.
You see now why I had Tataru summon you.
That seems like a very toxic thing, almost like a biohazard.
Now that we're all assembled, perhaps you would be good enough to elaborate on the nature of the matter which brought you to us.
The Observatorium's astrologians have sounded the alarm. Last night, the Dragonstar burned with an intensity not seen in 15 summers. Not since the Dravanians engaged the Empire in the Battle of Silvertear Skies.
Sadly, yeah, I hate that crap, man, because it completely, stops us from...
The northern sky doth burn full bright upon the Worm Lord's call. The red behemoth beckoneth, and flame consumeth all.
It sucks.
The old Curthin Ryan,
if I became President of the United States, I will abolish Spectre. I will tell you all that.
The brightening of the Dragonstar is said to accompany the roar of a great worm. The astrologians believe that it was Midgard Soma himself who cried out on this occasion.
After an absence of centuries, the King of Kings did return to lead his kind against the might of Garlemald, only to fall in his duel with the Agrius, proud flagship of the Garlean fleet. Devoid of life, his corpse remaineth entwined about the Magitech monstrosity even unto this day.
Ariange has the right of it. Whatever this alteration in the Dragonstar portends, the Great Worm has shown no sign of life. Tataru, have the Domans reported aught out of the ordinary?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but if Midgard Soma had roared, wouldn't we have heard it here in Revenant's Toll?
Roar is but a figure of speech. Dravanians can communicate in ways beyond arcane. It is for this very reason that we are forced to look for signs in the heavens. We cannot say with any confidence that a great worm roared at all, much less that it was Midgard Soma. Only by directly examining the Keeper of the Lake can we be certain. However, it will take too long to gain the Holy See's approval to dispatch the Temple Knights. Therefore, Sir Emric would entrust this task to you. Do you accept?
And it appears that over the next few
We knew
days,
you would not disappoint us. Now, if you would excuse me, I must return and assist the Lord Commander. We have precious little time to prepare.
Or secure some sort of a
To prepare for what, pray tell?
well-off supply line within this direction. We are assuming that the Ukrainians will most
When a
likely
great worm rolls, his brethren cannot choose but answer. We prepare for battle.
Probably by the time we come back, we'll have seen that good progress has been made, but they won't be in entire control of the western flank south of the Rekisim up till that point. But things are looking very good in this area, and it does seem as though the situation is largely positive. And we have seen that a lot of people have been weighing in on this now positive appearance, once again, of the Kursk front, as Ukraine has opened a new front on the Russian border in Kursk. And a lot of people are wondering, is Ukraine doubling down on that invasion? It seems like a lot of people are saying, yes, yes, in fact they are. Some are saying that no, they're not really doing so. And some people are saying, maybe they are, maybe they aren't. We just don't know. And who are you to say? And a lot of people have had many different inputs on this. But, Nandy, what are people thinking about this? And most importantly, what are you thinking about it as well?
All right, so we have seen today that Ukrainian forces have opened a brand new front on the Russian border near Kursk. The big question is Ukraine doubling down on their original invasion? So 74% of the audience said yes, they are doubling down, while 11% said maybe so, but I need more intel first, and 9% said no, Ukraine is forced to stop the Russian offensive. Now, the first thing that pops into my head is if Ukraine was totally focused on stopping the Russian offensive, they would simply send more troops to their current front lines in Kursk, and they would simply reinforce those. So I think what they're trying to do here is try to redirect some of those Russian forces, which just started a brand new counteroffensive against the Ukrainians in the Kursk region. They're hoping to redirect some of those forces over to this new front, which has just been opened by the Ukrainians. That could be a very, very high IQ move, but it is a little bit risky. So we'll have to wait and see if the Russians actually redirect that new spot. But if not, then that could mean that maybe the Ukrainians might expand and also basically spread themselves too thin across the Kursk offensive. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm actually with the 74%. But unfortunately, what say you?
I would have to be with the 74% as well. The Ukrainians are certainly doubling down. There's no doubt about that, because the opening of the new offensive on the western state near Moskova is certainly going to be trying to solidify the position, right? And deny the Russian ability to consolidate the future and try and conduct a counterattack on the Ukrainians' western flank with this offensive. I would certainly say, without a shadow of doubt, this is shown that the Ukrainians are going to double down on this offensive and planning on holding this ground for an incredibly long time up until the near future, maybe even until the war ends. We'll kind of have to see how that goes. But this is still a very interesting time to see. I actually did not expect the Ukrainians to come to try and open this new push across the border. You guys have gone for hasn't seen that yet, but it seems filled up to always in the back pockets. That way, when the Russians started putting in their brigade on the southern side of the river on Mount Komarov, the Ukrainians could just get right behind them and capture a large ground on one of their exposed flanks. So a very solid move overall. Once again, counting with the Ukrainian strategists that are operating this offensive are doing incredibly well as far as the planning is concerned. But moving on from that, and out of this area, and on quickly into the Middle East, we did get an individual sole statement made that apparently the decision to wage war against Hezbollah has been made, according to a U.S. official. Israel has made a decision to start a wide-scale war against Hezbollah. That is all we have at the moment. This is Mossad commentary on Twitter, and a lot of people would say, well, that doesn't really seem like that's that viable source. In the past, we had seen that their information has been incredibly solid so far. We've used that a lot in our news reporting analysis here on this channel of conflict, and so it seems as though some sort of a conflict is going to be coming around the corner in southern Lebanon by the Israelis. And it's about time. We have seen that Hezbollah is continuing to fire rockets into the area of northern Israel. We didn't get to see that some of those interceptions were occurring even today, as the war is still kind of unofficially going on. And it seems now that the Israelis are going to conduct some actual serious action to destroy this threat, which is southern Lebanon, and to ensure that it doesn't continue to threaten Israeli interests, largely all Western interests, including the United States and the region. This means that we'll probably see a very heavy air campaign in the future of Israeli airstrikes throughout the entirety of southern Lebanon, up to the area of the
Oh my lord, am I forgetting the name of the river? Hang on, this little river, the Litani River, right there. It's one more so it creeks. And we also assume that the Israelis are also going to be striking some other major targets within the area as well, either operating as Islam Revolutionary Guard for strongholds, or they're operating largely as a harbor for operating standards of Hezbollah and Guard Force. Those towns will include Beirut, Zahle, and Malbec, and those seem to be incredibly large concentrations of either leaders and Hezbollah, or in the specific case of Malbec and Zahle, according to Israeli intelligence, it seems that those eastern towns are being used as corridors across the Syrian border to get the supply of arms and weapons further south into the area where it's actually operating south of the Litani River. So going off of that, we have an idea that the Israelis are probably going to be conducting some pretty extensive campaigns inside of Lebanon, mostly relegating on the ground level to the southern area of Lebanon, and as well as the airstrikes are concerned, probably hard in somewhere or another as they seem to about destroying eventually all the information that we have at the moment from the specific area of course back to discovery back from our separate day rank communication is they actually have air support. We don't have the public taking most solid action stuff. I don't think that's satisfactory. But putting on that, and a lot of it further on, up into the area of the location of the zone, we actually have a couple of instruments. Very big. And we actually have the pictures were interesting. This guy has quite a legendary rifle. This guy also has a legendary rifle for first. That he's got we can then see driving around a Manx Pro that is heavily covered with a camouflage now. Really cool to see. We love the Manx Pros. They're incredibly good vehicles. We also see it being accompanied by a T-64 EV that also has a kind of an armor slat around the back of the turret. I know someone gave me the official name for those. I keep on forgetting the official name of them. I just call them the armor slats. And then finally, we got to see some infantrymen training with AK-74s, as I'm supposing that they're simulating open warfare on the fleets being trained, not necessarily trench warfare, although this guy is in some dugout for maybe an incredibly small trench warfare somewhere in training. So this is wonderfully showing us the way the brigade is conducting their training. Hopefully this will lead them to be a lot more effective fighting unit and allow them to have greater success on the defensive in the battlefields throughout most of the interior of Ukraine. But moving on from that little bit of location unknown news, and on into our next bit, we also got to see a first in history. This is the first AT launcher drone that we have ever seen. I'm just going to show you the clip and mute it, but we'll leave it at that and just show you all what this is. So as you can see, they put the whole rocket launcher on the bottom of that drone. That's crazy. Man, it is crazy. They put an entire law, I think, on the bottom of this thing. Or it's an AT-4. I can't really tell, but it's about to fire in here in a second. And there it goes. A dead-on impact to the target that they were aiming at. Really crazy stuff, actually. Even they have... British have ended up coming up with a drone that actually can fire, especially made missile. These things are being made by Ukraine pretty cheaply and effectively, and it looks like they may be pushed into service here within the next month or two. But still, I have no idea how that drone handles the recoil of that thing. That's a large, munition being fired on that little rocket launcher right there. How the hell is a drone, which is already a feat of flying and engineering itself, handle that much recoil? That's the real question I want to know. It's a really good question. The interesting fact about it, Matthew, you're not going to believe this. Anti-tank weapons like that hardly have any recoil at all, because they operate off a recoilless system where, while there's a lot of force being projected forwards, there's also a lot of force being projected back, which means that it largely cancels itself out. So there isn't really a lot of recoil
recoil like there would be with rifle or something along those lines, because most anti-tank weapons are made recoilless, and that's also why they don't have an incredibly long range. They only have a range mostly of several hundred yards at the best, is because a lot of the actual force, a lot of the velocity is actually being projected backwards now to back into meaning that it kind of balances itself, cancels itself out. So largely recoil. So it really was just a matter of the whole time of making it big enough to carry this thing and fire it, and they finally have done it. And hopefully we'll see if these things are out on the battlefield in really large numbers here incredibly soon. But from that, we also got to see the work of the Ukrainian volunteer artillery summit. Oh, excuse me, we're going to do the Vinci bubble, Little Precious bubble, the little bubble. You see them here moving around, moving the scout, walking through the woods to the artillery. And they're about that last and fire, Russian. Fire, and use, yeah. This nothing pursuing along those lines. Because that's usually how he talks, right? I mean, kind of. I would say so. It seems like the lag delay and kind of be like seconds. Oh, man. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. It was really like it's a 40 if you say something, or you would say something that would sound like you were doing nice stuff, so I would start still say, hey, this is pretty good for Randus, but can you hear me right now? Good? Yeah, I hear you personally on my computer now. I don't think we have that much fun getting on that. It sounds maybe like a second, maybe a little less. It's an elephant miracle, I'm telling you. It's an elephant miracle, and that means that you go with the way the elephant. What else you get if you're at Saturday? This year, a lot of then was absolutely massive. Off to the ground. And Bobcat, that's what I call it. I love it. And Bobcat on the former race. I love it. I really don't see the Bobcat, but I'm not joking about it. The one right there. Everything with a different song. It's like the Russians getting it's like that's your own problem. It's 10 Bobcats gets point out starts the board. Try to stuff but 1,220 Russian soldiers were killed of the past round, along with 48 almost Hellcarriers, 59 Blancos, 18 weak battle tanks, 52 artillery pieces, 80 drones, 1 MLRS, and 60 Bobcats kitchen. All in all, they something let's say it's not small. And hopefully this will start to greatly affect their fighting effort all throughout the rest of the war. So it's kind of a little bit military, but like that thing. So it builds up the boss. Decided there is John and Bob Mudd used the cross and also done it exactly. It's a little early, right? Some people may notice that's because it's listed right at this the limit last about 47 but I have a little bit of pressure on me tonight to make sure this thing goes a little bit quicker because we do have to kind of like pack and everything in place to be very early tomorrow in our way vacation. So
are actually trying to make this a little bit normal, so it is going to be a bit of a short screen, right? But nevertheless, I understand that we have a very interesting question that was asked every about the last thing. So what we got? All right, so we currently have a poll from it. It says that the Israel is going to open 4 shell war with F1 in Lebanon, like it said it was. And it looks like 65% said yes, Israel will move on them, while 80% said only time will tell, and 10% said no, Israel is definitely bluffing and wants to be down. And I have to admit, this is not the first time that Israel said they're going to go into Lebanon. And actually, it's just one month, but Israel is not Lebanon. So now we're going to figure out how to do it. It's really preparing to actually do it. Israel's kind of like same thing, quite different. It's really not following the wrong way. But that's not really good. Yeah, it's What's a $100 donation? Thank you very much, Andy. As always, he said, I can't stay, but I wanted to drop in and wish you guys a fun and relaxing vacation. He said, get rest in the stars and walk with LSA and have a good time. And thank you so much for this exciting and but I can say thank you so much for this for so long. Tonight, I actually don't know how to feel running the streams. I feel excited about the vacation tomorrow, but I also feel a little sad because this is the first time ever outside of Christmas and Thanksgiving that we have taken days off. In fact, this is the largest amount of days taken off in 3 years of running the show. Like, I've never taken this many days off. It feels really weird. I don't really know how to feel about it because I actually feel kind of a little bit sad about this. Like, it's like, I won't be able to be on air and talk to all of you every time. I will have fun on the trip, but I know every single one of y'all, and tell you all the news that we've been doing for literally non-stop. I don't even know what in the world vacation on because I have never stopped working. I mean, we have been working practically 7 days a week for 3 straight years. So never had that much time off. Maybe Christmas, Thanksgiving, I'm almost every day or two, but not for like 5 days. I mean, that's actually crazy. And so, really, we confuse ourselves and say how long. Tonight is the last night we get to for several days. That doesn't mean we're all here every like this season finale or anything. We are going to be on air from September 14th. You can actually see the right this week. So make sure you go to that there. Because right now, in our time zone, it is September 3rd. So that means that tomorrow, September 14th, is the first day of the lunch. And that will be that way until September 19th. September 19th is when we plan to be able to run our TV. But from the 14th to the 18th, there's not going to be a single TV at all. At least because we will not be able to run one, and also with the way that the scheduling works, we will still have
participating. So I hope that addresses kind of like the time parameters, just gives you all when it's going to be happening. If y'all haven't heard that yet, it's going to be the 14th to the 18th. So this is the last stream before our break off, and then we'll be back on the 19th, which will be, I think, let's see, so that would be about 6 days. We will be back on air in about 6 days, and then we'll be, of course, credit reviews for each and every one of y'all once again. I know all of y'all are something of first withdrawal. I think we're going to have LSA withdrawals, because I don't really know what I'm actually going to be doing. I'm going to have other game plans every day of my video. So I can get work, I can stream, I can nothing. And then I'm going to come back and go absolutely. So, with that, I hope that gets all worried though, because if something does happen during the vacation, I do have my entire setup with me, so we will make a video on it. We won't take the time to do that. So if something goes down, and I'm like worried as hell, thinking the moment we leave tomorrow for vacation, something big is going to happen. Like immediately after we leave, I will be like, oh my god, like no way this happened the day we left. But if that happens, we'll be covered because we have a whole local studio set up. So I have a feeling you'll probably be hearing from us on the video that we do before the next time we stream, which will sort of just take off the withdrawal session just a little bit. If that's even possible, we'll have to go ask Pop on that there. But of course, you might make a video as well. I'm not really sure, but we're kind of up in the air about that. It kind of depends on the day, because today was supposed to be my day to put out a video, but then it was the stuff that happened back. It was actually supposed to do it nowadays. It's just that there was a million things that I had been doing that I can't do it a couple times here, because all that here like the next 5 to 10 days. So we will be putting out videos every year. And we're scheduled to follow on the trip. So tomorrow is Matthew's day. I don't even know. I don't know if Matthew will make a video tomorrow if he goes for a review. But if there was any reason to make a video, it could be one video that day. The next day after that was my day. And the day after that was Matthew's, and so on and like that. So if it's big happen on any day, we'll be still keeping under the schedule, and one of us or the other will be uploading a video to talk about exactly what that kind of thing is. But with that, I hope that does address that fairly well, at least all of that, like all of the housekeeping stuff and everything that's going to be actually happening. But thank you once again, Danielle, for wanting us to have a great time on this vacation. I know we certainly will, because this vacation, interestingly enough, it was largely started by me, but planned entirely by Matthew, the concept about this vacation. And when y'all hear what it was, y'all will be like, oh yeah, that was a really enforcer kind of a thing to do. Not really an enforcer that kind of a thing to do, or just a vacation in general. It's a very enforcer kind of a thing that was done here. So y'all will hear all about it when we get back to it, because I would love to be able to tell you all about it, because there's a lot of cool stuff that we can rabbit hole on, actually, with what we're about to do. But I'm so happy that everyone wants to have a fun time. I got to thank you so much for the kind words as well, for supporting this channel and helping us keep on running. I'm supposed to on. It'll be better. So
That is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Because I tell you, I just heard on the channel. Like, you know, you go to town and goes on social media and talking to my word of mouth only or one. But going over to someone else's channel, in their live channel, in the middle of their live, or one of their videos, and being like, this guy sucks, he forced me better. It's like, that is like one of the weirdest things that you can do. And like, I've seen it a bit of time. I get rid of those comments from Dan. But still, I gotta thank you so much once again for this story, helping me with laughter that, and letting us see the one of the really incredible feats that you see is the release of the LSA. So thank you so much. I hope that does that incredibly. And also, by the way, like, I'm not saying you don't need the LSA. I'm going to tell you what channel will know, but it doesn't have house. But as far as going over to someone else's channel and being like, hey, they saw come watch the course, like, no, that is still, I want to say LSA. I don't see that at all. But anyways, with that, thank you so much for supporting the Black Coast Back. And we will make sure to take a live chat here. And so what we got now? Alright, so this line chat question, I'll grab another box. Yep. This one goes to a feedback. It's kind of fell for much. Probably not. I have to believe about that behind the closed doors. Also, nothing really happened yet. One of the the question. Like, which one has to stop and something like that? So thank you for probably doing those questions. Stop. But still, I hope that doesn't answer that question well. Because I don't think it's something my watch that waiting for Woody. But I think so with that, I hope that does answer well. We're on to the last question of this segment, and then we're going to be getting back to the Ukrainian frontline. Alright, so last one of the segment, going to go to Rumpelstiltskin, who puts in the $50 donation. And Rumpelstiltskin, enjoy a little extra for your vacation. And I've appreciated the insight and free content that you've shared over the years since it's the price. And also yesterday's rant on U.S. long-range missile policy was dead on. And that's all the hard work. Thank you so much for every citizen that I have a great vacation. That's all we know. Just need to wake up in the morning. Please. Don't watch the channel.
Who treadeth now upon my bones, and waketh me from slumber sweet?
Some Russian tank turned into a nuclear bomb out there in the field.
Thou hast forgotten the face of thy Lord. Remember, mortal, and fear me.
People want to also give like the best hits of the life. Like I'm all about that without
is kind of
By her gifts hast thou earned a moment's reprieve. Speak, mortal, and I shall listen. Guided by a star. My people have heard the song. Ishgard shall burn. Sons must answer for their father's misdeeds. We do not forget. We do not forgive. 7 children did I sire. One now singeth of retribution. I rise to join in the chorus. Thou art powerless to silence us, mortal. Yet thou shalt not live to labor in vain. Thy reprieve is at an end. Trickery is thy shield. This frail, ignoble creature is not gifted, but chosen. Hearken to me, Hydaelyn. I remember, and I consent. Fear not, mortal. I shall not harm thee. Mayhap thou thinkest me an oath breaker. Thou art mistaken. If thou comest to harm, it shall be by another's hand, not mine. I did but strip thee of thy mistress's feeble blessing. Thou didst profit much by her grace, but no more. The covenant binds me to thee. I shall watch, listen, and wait. Fight and struggle, if it be thy will. Man hath ever coveted that which lieth beyond his grasp. I drink of her body, and fenced of mine own find new life. When it hath grown whole, the loyal and penitent shall rejoice. The dragon song heraldeth our beginning and an end.